The unrest in Hong Kong has prompted many living and working in the city to consider their options. Among them is Australian expat Ching from Melbourne, who runs a chain of sandwich shops. He joins us now from the former British colony. Ryan, good morning to you. Firstly, what brought you to Hong Kong in the first place?
Morning, Michael.
What brought you over there in the first place?
I was originally sort of working and living in Vietnam for a few years before coming to Hong Kong. So I thought Hong Kong would be, a great place to do business, and it's usually pretty politically stable.
Usually is. So what do you make of the volatile situation on the ground now, particularly over the last day or two?
I think it's definitely very, very intense now. There's this whole nervous energy going around across the city, and I think the majority of people are firstly, we're really saddened that, the city's sort of being torn apart like this. And secondly, there's a lot of anger that's sort of going around, about what the government's actually doing about it or not doing, really.
And I want to ask you about that. What is your view of how the government, Carrie Lam, the chief executive, have handled this situation?
Oh, I think, ever since these protests began about 6 months ago, it's every inaction or action that they've made has only made matters worse. And I think right now, Carrie Lam comes across as very, arrogant and ignorant, her and her cabinet ministers, in terms of, actually realising that this problem has got more, societal, causes. It's not just about this extradition bill. And, I think we've seen there's over 4,500 people that have been arrested thus far. About 500 people were arrested yesterday. Most of those arrested were, they're kids under 20 years of age. So, yeah, there's a lot of anger around, mostly aimed at the government.
So how's this going to end? Of course, there has been constant speculation ever since these protests began, Ryan, about the Chinese military coming in hard and cracking down on the protesters. Do you fear that will happen eventually?
Yeah, it's really hard to tell. I mean, clearly the Hong Kong police haven't got this under control. There's no concessions being made on both sides, and so, the situation is just escalating. I personally don't see it improving unless, something drastic does happen. But, at the same time, I think if the Chinese do bring the PLA in, then it's gonna be a big, international sort of piece. So I guess the Chinese are quite worried as well.
They are.
Who knows?
Who knows? And that's the thing, Ryan. Nobody knows because you're stuck in there, as you say. It's a great city. It's what brought you to Hong Kong, but you are considering your options, your family's options. Do those options include getting out?
Definitely. I think in the past week, originally, these protests, they weren't really affecting our day-to-day lives, but, now school's been cancelled since, I think, last Tuesday. So school's been cancelled for a week now. It is affecting our day-to-day lives. I had to shut my shop for 2 days last week because, police were firing tear gas into your CBD area. Once it gets to the stage where it is affecting your day-to-day life, then you really do need to consider what the alternatives are, and if, as sad as it is, if you really want to continue living here. And I think that's sort of the view shared by other expats that are currently in Hong Kong.
Okay, as you ponder those options, Ching, thank you for speaking to us, and please stay safe in the days and weeks ahead.